Hi, Emily. Week 4 assignment 2, your poetry assignment. All right, so you thought the assignment was fantastic? Great. I love to hear when students really get into assignments. For equity and justice, we choose to shoot at our local cemetery. Then ignore the time in our existence. Are we all more equal than death? Yeah, absolutely. Death doesn't care how much money you made, how nice you were, or what your health is like. Death is final. For hope in challenging times, use a board game and poker. Relationship between humans and environments. It's used a broken down truck. Been sitting for a very long time. All right, so let's take a look at your critique image. I think it's pretty strong. So, relationship between humans and the environment. So we have this overgrown. I think for me, it's from seeing the other images, I get it, but based upon a book cover of just being this, it'd be really difficult for me to figure out what's going on here. It's a little too tightly cropped. I think if we back out and show some of the other ones here, let's take a look at your contact sheets. So, for example, like this one here, love that shot. I might try sliding it over just a little bit more to get the truck bed kind of more on the 1/3 line, or maybe even get closer and shoot, yeah, like this style right in here. See, I think these do a much greater job of kind of show that whole nature and humans interacting. Thank you for including your light meter. Looks like it's working out pretty well for you. When we get to the Monopoly board, I think the issue for me is there's just so much text going on that I try and read it all rather than concentrate on the I think these are hotels. It's been forever since I've played Monopoly. And then we have the poker and the cash in the background. I think that works. So, and then we get to the cemetery. And again, for me, it becomes in these other images here, like this, all about trying to read the headboards. Whereas with having the vaults here, I think those are really interesting. I like those a whole lot. So all in all, I think you did a good job. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate in shooting me an email. Hi, Nancy. Week 4, assignment 2, your poetry book assignment. All right, so we've got, here, let's pop over to your statement first. Okay, so for this assignment, you choose a relationship between humans and the environment. Your interpretation of this is how humans affect the environment in a bad way. Yep, absolutely. Everywhere we turn, there's trash on the side of the road or in the lakes, rivers, fields being torn up to build houses. So, although some of these are for our benefits, others are destroying our environment. A single shot shows a little sapling of a tree that's been cut down. In the background, you can see a building. All right, so let's go back to your image here. So yeah, we have definitely the trees that have been cut down. Who knows? Maybe it's like an invasive or a very rapidly growing thing. I have in my yard, what are they called? A rows of Sharons that when we first moved in, there were 2 big ones and they were gorgeous, and they kept growing and growing. The next thing you know, they were everywhere, all over my yard. And to this day, I'll go into an area of the yard that there never was one, and they'll be sprouting up. All right, so cut down kind of the dead brown leaves. I think it works very well. We have the building in the background. Just the one thing I would do is get the subject out of the very center of the frame. Try adjusting it so it's not so centered. Getting closer, shift the camera up. Something along the lines of, say, we only really need to see something like so, and then this becomes the center of it's right along the 1/3 line, and then this kind of pulls me up along the 1/3 line in this direction here. Just a lot more well balanced. Let's take a look at your contact sheet. So your exposures seem to be kind of all over the place, and I was looking at this one where you're actually holding the light meter. And if we actually look at the light meter, it's showing that your correct exposure should be f16 or the 30th of a second, but you set it at 1/100th at f7. You're supposed to be taking a meter reading and taking that exposure and dialing that into your camera, and that would definitely then give you a much different exposure. All right. So other images that I thought worked well was this one here, again, getting that tree out of the very center, maybe shifting it down or maybe cropping it right around in there. I think that would work. And then it shows the garbage and the trash. Are you shooting a lot from the car? I kind of think that you probably are. It's best to get out of the car and set up the shot rather than just kind of doing a quick drive-by. So yeah, just a little bit more work with the exposure. Some of them are washed out, meaning overexposed. See, like this, nailed it. Great exposure there. And hopefully you're using your light meter to then transfer those exposures onto your camera rather than just relying on the camera itself. All right, so hopefully that helped. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate shooting me an email. Hi, Amber. Week 4, assignment 2, your poetry book. All right, so for this assignment, you chose relationship between humans and the environment. You interpreted it was how humans interact and the things they do within their environment. Took photos of people going into shop, pumping gas, waiting in traffic, and the artists who decorated the city. Since they were designing a cover for the book on poetry, decided to pick the most artistic photo I took. Some of the art the local artists contributed. Horse capitals, a photo of painted horses will be auctioned off for charity. Okay, let's take a look at your image here. So very bright, but yeah, the colors absolutely do pop. We have it placed right on the 1/3 line, so great composition there. I think it works. Obviously, it's that time of year where everything's kind of dreary and just kind of blah, but those colors on those horse, man, that really pops. I think it really draws the eye much more to the horse than if it were shot like in the spring or the summertime, and then you'd be fighting for attention with all these bushes that will probably be vibrant green, the trees in the backgrounds, and the green grass. So I think it works. I also like how we have, looks like a chopped down tree here that kind of adds more to how humans are interacting with the environment. All right, take a look at your contact sheets. Something I want to talk to you about. So from looking at your contact sheets, I'm guessing the majority of all these images were taken while you were in the car. You need to get out of the car. You're going to be able to set up these shots much better. If you're shooting through any windshield or any kind of window, there's treatments on those windows that make the images tend to be flat in terms of contrast. So really, for any of these classes, you need to get out of the car and take the time and set up the shot. I understand that it's cold this time of year in many places around the country, but that's one of the challenges of being a professional working photographer, is you're going to have to deal with the environment and deal with the cold. So please, in the future, get out of the car. All right, so hopefully that helped. Like I said, I think the one you have here really works. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Hi, Erica. Week 4, assignment 2, your poetry book. All right, so for this assignment, you went with relationship between humans and the environment. It's Mardi Gras on PCB. Since their own interpretation was acceptable, you thought you would photograph humans in that environment, trying to capture how such a large event could actually be bad for our environment. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's been to Mardi Gras New Orleans right after all the big events realizes how disgusting and nasty those streets look, and the workers do a fantastic job of getting it cleaned up very quickly. So you'll notice the hundreds of people all over the place. The line to get into the parking lot was over 4 miles long, bumper to bumper. Ugh. Exhaust fumes from that many cars can't be good for our ecosystem, right? People were also littering everywhere. While good for the business in the area, it might have been quite the opposite for our environment. All right, let's take a look at your critique image. So here we have the people lining the streets. A couple things I would do. First of all, you got an awful lot of unused area, dead space going on down in here. I would crop that out. I would zoom in or actually physically walk closer and get more of what's going on in here. In fact, maybe it becomes not a portrait orientation, maybe a landscape orientation, maybe something like like so. And then we still retain that wonderful feeling of shadows here. The only thing that kind of does go by the wayside is that the sun. So relationship between humans and the environments, and you cite specifically things about pollution and littering and things like that, but unfortunately I don't see that in this image, and that's really what we would be looking for. Ideally we would see the litter, people dropping things, paper rolling around like tumbleweed. It's Mardi Gras, so maybe beads kind of scattered around. Obviously, when people get beads thrown at them, they don't last very long. But something that really portrays that feeling of the disgustingness and the bad for the environment things that you cited in your statement. But it's a gorgeous exposure. Love the lighting, love the shadow and the sun. So let's take a look at your contact sheets. So, keeping in mind, contact sheets are for the raw image only. That means there should be no cropping whatsoever. We can see this image is smaller than this image, and we scroll down. And, for example, two horizontals that are very different. So there should be no cropping, no adjustments, nothing going on in your contact sheets. You want to see how you're seeing things through the viewfinder rather than cropping them and then going back and creating contact sheets. So looking at your light meter, man, that's a classic. Love the small little ones. So it looks like the reading, we're set it at 100 ISO, and let's see, you used f5.6. So for here, it's showing f5.6 should be right around just under 1/1000th of a second, but you're using 1/60th of a second. Keep in mind that when you take the meter reading, that the setting that's shown on here should be what we're seeing down in here. We're supposed to be having you take the image, not the image, the exposure, and transferring that onto the camera. And that's the whole purpose of using a handheld light meter, because many, many, many times the handheld light meter is far more accurate because you can actually walk up and meter just your subject matter rather than taking into account, like here it's all backlit from the sun. If you actually walked up to the back of this person and did a meter reading, it's going to be a lot different than what you have your built-in camera light meter for. Okay, so I completely understand where you're going for here. I think just adding more stuff, getting more stuff, and really showcasing that nastiness of what you mentioned in your statement would really be very, very helpful. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Hi, Susan. Week 4, assignment 2, your poetry book. All right, so we have, yeah, I love this class. You don't know how happy it makes me to hear you say that. This is by far my most favorite class to teach, and simply because of this, it's all about the creativity. And it's one of the first classes that really allow you guys to really explore things and do it and show us your own visions. All right, so you were gravitating towards relationship, humans and the environment, plenty of places to shoot in the town, and then your final images are all about the nuclear plant. So let's take a look at your critique image. Let me ask you, you obviously were able to get pretty darn close. Did you have anybody watching you? Because typically when you're around a nuclear plant, there are people who, well, security obviously, who tend to come over and question people and at some times try and demand that you delete images or things like that. So great composition. The steam tower, the cooling tower right on the 1/3 line. A lot of people think this is like radioactive gas and stuff, and no, that's just steam coming out of there used to cool it. And the actual reactor is in this building here. All right, so I think it works really, really well. The exposure is dynamite, and the detail you've captured in here and it's kind of fading off over there works very nicely. Contact sheets, you've got a lot of great images you could have chosen from. I'm kind of partial to the graveyard. There's just something that attracts me to graveyards completely. I've been that way ever since I can remember. Like these here. The dumpsters with all the garbage and everything being tossed, and then even down in here with the riverbed and just all the garbage and just the nastiness. And even this one here, beautiful backlit, that kind of salmon-colored sky. I think it works. So all in all, I think you did a good job. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate in shooting me an email.